then the coolest story, how I got my start when I left Marble Falls to move to Dallas, is I was working at this gas station, doing minor mechanical things, tire repair and stuff. And I pumped gas. That's back when it was full service. And this guy pulled in with his motorhome.
The Local Insider Show is brought to you in part by My Patriot Supply. You don't need to live in the heart of a hurricane zone or along an active fault line to be serious about emergency preparedness. If we've learned anything from both historical and recent events, crises can come in all shapes and sizes, and they can come at any time, even overnight. Whether you're experiencing the effects of long-term illness, an accident, job loss, or even widespread threats like terrorist attacks, economic collapse, or an outbreak of disease, you can tackle what's next in confidence with My Patriot Supply storable foods. No matter what your emergency may look like, you won't have to worry about where you're getting your next meal. And as far as your survival is concerned, there's nothing more important than that. Already our foods and packaging undergo regular, rigorous testing to ensure they exceed industry standards for safety, quality, and shelf life. Ready Hour also conducts regular analytical, microbial, and oxygen level inspections, as well as sensory testing of raw materials and finished goods in a food testing lab. Don't delay, prepare today. When an emergency is on the way, My Patriot Supply receives a rush of orders that slows their ability to ship as quickly as usual from their warehouses across the country. Go to localinsidershow.com/emergency food to order your 2-week or 4-week supply of storable food.
My next guest is from Marble Falls, Texas, where he got his start in automotive repair at the age of 16. He then moved to Dallas before finally moving to Booneville, Arkansas, and opening certified auto repair. On the weekends, he travels home to Hot Springs, where he and his wife Peggy Sue own and manage their vacation rental, Dockzilla Lake Hamilton. Please welcome Steve Crosby.
Welcome to the Local Insider Podcast, a show about everyday people who make a big difference.
Steve Crosby, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian. Glad to be here.
We were talking before about the significance of a podcast. Some people, this may be the first podcast you listen to.
This would be mine first. My first.
The first podcast you listen to will be your podcast. Isn't that amazing? Well, I feel very privileged. As I was saying before, I want to create a historical record for our area so that the next generation and my children and grandchildren will have a blueprint of how people who built this place did it. And I think that's one of the advantages that we have now with technology is we can record this and it will be on the internet.
Sounds like a good idea.
If you would let the people know a little bit about your background, where you came from and how you got here.
Well, I was an Air Force brat. I went to the second grade in the Philippines. We traveled probably 8 or 10 different cities till I was in the 5th grade. And then we settled down in Marble Falls, Texas. And that's where I finished, or I didn't finish. I went to the 10th grade in Marble Falls High School. And went through the School of Hard Knocks in Dallas, Texas. When I moved to Dallas, about probably in like 1978, I went to work at an auto repair garage. Lied about my age. And fortunately, the good Lord gave me mechanical skills. And I worked at a I started my mechanical career in Dallas, Texas. Lived there about 5 years. And then went through one relationship, had a daughter, Brooke. Then I met my second wife, Sadie Pearl. And that's how I moved to Arkansas, following a woman.
So how old were you when you lied about your age to get a job at that shop?
16.
So your whole family moved here?
My dad had children that we didn't even know he had through our life, me and my 3 other siblings. And we met them on a trip to Pennsylvania one time, like when I was like probably 13, 14. And somehow after we did that, my mom and dad decided they wanted to move here. And when they did, my first wife was in Marble Falls where I lived, and they wanted me to move to Arkansas and leave my life. And I bucked up and said I wasn't going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they left, and I found my way.
Mm-hmm. So they moved here before you did?
Oh, yeah. And I worked in dishwashing. I did busting tables and dishwashing at a cafe, and worked at a gas station. And that's why I started mechanically stuff. And then the coolest story, how I got my start when I left Marble Falls to move to Dallas, is I was working at this gas station, doing minor mechanical things, tire repair and stuff. And I pumped gas. That's back when it was full service.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy pulled in with his motorhome. The old Winnebago. It was a new Winnebago, but it's an old one now. But he pulled in, and I started chewing the fat with him. He told me he had a 63 Chevrolet Super Sport Impala that he wanted to get restored. I told him I'd do it. And I don't know how I did it, but I sold him on it. When he brought me that car, I quit that job, and I had there was this little shop we had behind my house that my mom and dad had, and I restored that car at 16 years old, which that's not like, it wasn't the quality of a restoration today.
Mm-hmm.
But I took the car and I painted it. I never painted a car before, and I, rebuilt the front end, rebuilt the motor, transmission, all that stuff. And whenever I was done, I took it back to him. I took it to him in Houston, Texas, and he gave me $4,000.
Wow. What year was that?
Probably 78.
That was, so today that would be probably like 20 grand.
And yeah, but I had my money in it when I didn't have any. Actually, I think he gave me about half up front, because I couldn't have done that without his money. But he paid me the rest of it for the $4,000. And that's the money I used to move to Dallas, because my first wife's dad lived there, and we stayed with him for a couple of months before we got our own place, and and I got a job and all that stuff. But that's how I got my start in auto repair, is selling this guy that I could restore his Impala.
So what inside you made you think that you could do it?
It's just what I got.
Yeah. So you just knew it.
I didn't know if I didn't know it, but I damn sure going to try.
Yeah.
And I've never been scared of nothing when it comes to that. I will do. I'll try to do anything. If I put my mind to it, I will do it.
Mm-hmm. The thumos is what the Romans called it, or gusto is what we call it now, or in the South they call it having the balls to do it, I guess.
Yeah. That's just been the story of my life. I've undertook things that the average person would say, you better not do that. When I built Certified Auto, and when I decided to build the big shop out there by Rockline, the banker that I was talking to, Tommy said, I'm not sure this is a good idea. Maybe you should build a hotel or something. And I want you to look at all the hotels in Booneville, Arkansas, and come see Certified Auto. See how many cars are in and out of that. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So talk a little bit about that. You started Certified actually in your garage in Sugar Grove, right?
I actually started it in Dallas, working in my garage outside beside this house we was living in by Love Field. And how I come up with the name is back when I was doing this, that was the early years of getting certifications from a organization called National Institute of Automotive Service Excellence, NIASC. And that's where they started giving mechanics certifications. You had to go take tests and all that kind of stuff. And I took the tests, and I passed all of them except for automatic transmissions because I never did automatic transmissions. But when I moved to Arkansas, when I first moved to Arkansas, I worked at Massey Harris Pontiac for $225 a week. And they thought they was giving me the bank. I left a job that was making about $35,000 a year on commission. And then I went to a salary job that was probably about $18,000 a year just to get out of the rat race of Dallas and come be in God's country.
Right.
Where my wife's family and my family lived. And after there, I went to work at Randall Ford for about 6 months. And then I was always the kind of guy that I would take on any kind of job I could on the side, working after hours. Then I got to realizing that I could probably do way better just working after hours than working for somebody else. And that's when I started. I built this little tin shed out beside our place in Sugar Grove, and I remember in 1982, that's when I got a sales tax permit where I was actually a legit business. And I used to go to Friddle's car auction, J.D. Friddle. And I'd go buy a Ford Pinto for $150, $200, need a motor, or rebuild. And I'd take it back and I would rebuild the motor. And I didn't, at that time, there was no debt. I didn't owe any money to nobody. I was working with what was on my hip. And the good Lord blessed me because I would invest what I had on my hip to buy that Pinto and the parts to fix it. And then when it come time where we were just about better do something, that car would sell. And we started all over again.
Isn't it amazing how that works out like that? When you're about to give up, that's when it comes through.
That's right. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
But that's how I got started. And then when we had an opportunity to rent a little shop across from the Bearcat, the guy that had it his name was Earl Tillery. He had a little one-bay shop. Rented that for about 6 months. Then I rented a shop over by the gas company. Roger Dusty built this building. I was there probably about a year. Then I had the opportunity to actually buy Roy Littleton's old garage over on Kennedy Street. And I was there for probably 7-8 years. And a year and a half, 2 years of it, while I was building the big certified auto by Rockline. And that was at that time I'd gained credit, and now I was in debt up to my ears. Had huge overhead, but I always paid my bills. Never, I guarantee there's nobody in this country could say that, I wouldn't pay my bill. I don't rest until my bills are paid.
Right.
And that's my motto. I don't take anything for granted until after my bills are paid. But the certified auto in our new shop on Highway 10, that has been a wonderful thing. It's worked out really well for me. And I work 16, 18 hours a day, and I'm now where I'm 61 now, and shoot, I barely work 10 now.
Mm-hmm.
But I just had the ambition.
Right.
The ambition and wanting to better things for me and my family.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at right now. And I'm in the slowdown phase now.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would you say the secret to your success is? Just ambition?
Putting in the hours.
Yeah.
And making sure that you do what you say. Don't tell somebody you're going to do something that you can do it. And if you can't do it, you be sure and call them and tell them before you get in a spot where they're going. You know, you have to cover your butt.
Mm-hmm.
And you take on something. You know, that's the story of my life. It's taking on big stuff and knocking it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't get it out of the park, you got to explain things,
mm-hmm.
and that makes it better. Because you know, there's so many contractors and stuff where I live in Hot Springs that they tell you they're going to do something, and you know they say, "Well, I'll be here tomorrow." They don't show up. Don't even call. 2 days later, they show up and act like nothing ever happened. Like they don't even have a bad conscience about it. Saying, you know what? You know, if you told me you're going to be here Tuesday, and here it's Thursday. Oh, well, something happened or whatever. My phone didn't ring. You don't treat people like that.
Right.
And that's the way the world is right now. A lot of places are like that. And that's not me. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And if I can't do it physically, I will tell you why and apologize, but you'll know before, you know, you're not having to go, wonder why he didn't do this, you know.
So is there a former teacher or a book, or where did you learn all this from your dad, from Toad, or from an uncle, or were you just born with this? How did you come about this knowing?
Well, I think probably what made me who I am is the way I was raised, is that I was provided everything I had to have when I was a child and growing up, but I wasn't provided for anything fancy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wore glasses since like the second grade, and you know, there were military issue glasses. You know,
BCGs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, birth control.
Yeah, birth control glasses.
But I'm just saying, whenever I got older and I wanted to be, and I wanted things that were better, my mom and dad they didn't give it to me, so I went after it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where my ambition comes in. But I'm saying, thank goodness they didn't just give me all this crap, because that's the way the world is right now. Every kid is given stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Given. And the key to my success is the fact that I was put in a position where if I wanted it, I had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to do it for me. And I wanted it. I have been one that wants it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you reap what you sow. I'm going to say that's the key to my success, is because, stuff wasn't given to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the ambition and the desire to want things that if you didn't go after it, you wasn't ever going to get.
Right.
You can talk about it, and you can see this guy having it or that girl having it or whatever. But the fact that nothing was given to me,
mm-hmm.
except for bare necessities, that's what made me who I am.
So did you make good grades in school?
Not the best. I never understood algebra.
Mm-hmm.
Still don't. But I was a good speller.
Mm-hmm.
And I was good in band. I played in a band.
What instrument did you play?
Slide trombone.
Slide trombone.
Yeah. I was very lucky to be, I was pretty good at it. In the fifth grade, it's a funny story. In the fifth grade, they put us all together and we talked, and then the band director come out and talked about band, wanted to know if you want to join the band. And I'm standing there with my buddies laughing. Who would want to be in a band? By the end of the day, about 2/3 through the school year, this little old gal that I liked was in the band. Next thing you know, I'm talking to the band director going, hey, you got any kind of instrument I can play? I want to be in the band. And he gave me that trombone. And by the end of the year, I had made it to first chair. And from the end of 5th grade to when I quit school in 10th grade, I never lost first chair. Went into high school, 9th grade, there's like 10 trombone players. And, I was at the end of the line then, but you wasn't placed yet. That you played a piece of music and the band director would put you in a chair, which we played our music, and he put me in first chair, and I never lost a challenge.
Wow.
And I don't mean bragging, but I wasn't that good because I'd go to some of these little deals where they, go off for competitions and stuff, and I wasn't that good. I wasn't Chicago good,
right?
But I was pretty good at it, and I enjoyed it.
Did you get the girl?
Well, no, I didn't get the girl. No, I didn't get the girl. I got Peggy Sue.
Yeah.
So I did get the girl.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So it's the reason I asked, did you make good grades? Because I found an interesting study. Well, I didn't read the study myself. It was a psychologist who was reading the study, and he was saying that with our current education system, that the 4.0 people that go through school and they make all 4.0, they are executives in companies. The people that are the B and C average are more likely to own their own business and start their own company. The people below that are the ones who work for the others.
Yeah. I would say I was probably average.
Yeah.
I wasn't below or what, I wasn't the best in math because I didn't like algebra, but
yeah, it just kind of proves what the study that he did. If you're saying you did all right, you weren't failing, but you weren't the best. You did probably B, C average.
Yeah,
and then look what you've built. And it would seem to extrapolate that people that are more focused on grades are more focused on pleasing others, and people who are focused on getting it done are more goal driven and I would say dream driven than process driven.
Well, pleasing others would be if you're going to do a job for somebody, you want to please them. So
right.
It's kind of intertwines there a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's just the thing. If you're getting paid to do something, you want to damn sure do it right so you get the next job.
Right.
And, I'm not perfect. You can please all the people some of the time and some of the people all the time. But my motto has always been, since I was 18 years old, is you might have this person mad at you because of this or whatever circumstances, but at the end of the day, you take your shower and you're brushing your teeth and you're looking in the mirror, and if you know that you did the best that you could do that day, sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
Because all you can do is the best you can do.
Right.
Some people's best ain't as good as others.
Right.
And, my best ain't better than some people's, but my best is better than some's.
Right.
But I will always give my best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been my whole life right there.
So you don't hang on to, you learn from your mistakes.
Oh, you got to learn from your mistakes. And, like I said, they could be damaging. And, but it's how you react and handle it.
Do you learn more from mistakes, or do you learn more from things that you did right?
I would say learn more from mistakes. Because if you did it right, you already knew it.
Right.
You didn't have to learn no more. So if you make a mistake, you figure out how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's collateral damage. But it's like another little motto of mine is in everything you do, auto repair, heck, anything, there's always going to be screw ups. And what separates you from a low life or a good guy is how you handle them, how you take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
If you screw up and you knew you screw up, you make it right.
Right.
I don't care if it costs you 10 times more than what you made on that job. You make it right, and you probably still ain't going to make them happy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to still stir up, bad raps. But like I said, at the end of the day, you look in the mirror, you know you did it.
Mm-hmm.
If we was to, I don't know, I'm just saying, at certified, if we was to put a water pump on a car, and we left a bolt out or something, and it blew his motor up, and we knew we did it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not going to hide a screw up. If we screwed it up, I'll be the one paying for the motor.
Mm-hmm.
But if we didn't, I won't pay for it.
Right.
I'm smart enough to know and can explain why it wouldn't be my fault. But if it is my fault,
Mm-hmm.
That's just what you do.
Like, there was one instance where I was working for a company, and we'd had something painted by you guys, and it came back and the paint wasn't adhering or whatever, and they were trying to say that, no, certified should redo it. Certified should redo it. I'm like, no, this guy's been doing this since Moby Dick was a minnow. If he says that it's something, if it was the manufacturer, what the part that he got or whatever, that's what it is. Turns out, yeah, there was, what was it called? They call it fallout. It was there was stuff in the metal when they started doing the aluminum bodies.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Similar metal corrosion.
Right.
It's a nasty thing.
And they were trying to blame you. I was like, if he says he didn't do it, he didn't do it. I'm not going to go barking up his tree trying to get him to do something. And
we did a lot of Ford warning on that. It's crazy all the studies they've done on that is just how if you was to brush a piece of aluminum, bare aluminum with a piece of metal, that later on it would like corrode up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, oh boy, it's a nasty thing.
Mm-hmm. Understand your automotive is not the only business you're in. You also have an Airbnb, is that right?
Yeah, I have what I call a mini resort, Dockzilla Lake Hamilton. And when I always loved hot springs. I always loved Lake Hamilton. And when my dad died, my mom and dad used to go to a little house I had on Lake Hamilton, and they loved it. And when my dad died, I decided when I built this house on this lot I bought, I was going to build a house on top of, my house is on top of the house I built for my mother, so she could live on the lake the rest of her life, or her productive life. And I did that, not even thinking about the benefits that after my mom was gone, that the good Lord gave me. I had this whole house below my house, and I started renting it for VRBO and a little bit of Airbnb. It's mostly VRBO, and now it's mostly regular customers. But it turned out to be wonderful income or wonderful gig that just happened because I wanted to take care of my mother, and I think the good Lord is taking care of me now because I wanted to do this for my mother.
Mm-hmm.
There was no financial gain to this at all, to do this until my mother was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I had thought about it, of course, a little bit here and there, but I didn't know nothing about it. But when I started it, it is like blowed up.
Mm-hmm.
And we are so blessed. We have so many customers that come every year. They stay, weekends or a week, and it's made it where, I am so comfortable in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's turned out to be a very lucrative business. And I get to do what I like to do. I'm a people person. I get to meet people. About 2/3 to 3/4 of our customers we hang out with, the people that come. And, I have most of my regulars come because they want to hang out with us, me and Peggy. And it's very heartwarming experience.
So you say that it's regular customers now. Does that mean that most of your clientele that you have, they don't come to you through Airbnb or VRBO?
No.
They're repeat customers or word of mouth?
Yeah, they come because we meet on VRBO, like the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Just for instance, the folks that are checking in this weekend, they rented in November through VRBO, last November, and they came in. They wanted to come again,
Mm-hmm.
and they booked directly through me and saved all that VRBO crap.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as money, but they came again, and 5 months later, they're talking about booking in August.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing. Never would have thunk it.
Yeah, it's quite an amazing place. I mean, I've only ever been there in the winter, and it's a blast in the winter, and you don't even get to use the boat. Yeah, you don't even get to use the boat or the lake or anything. It's just the game room and the karaoke.
Last year is the first year we picked a summertime weekend for the certified auto employees, and this year we got to figure out one probably in September. Trust me, you and your wife will be invited.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and of course we got the new boat rechristening on April 8th. Got the new Cobalt. We're going to break a bottle of champagne on the side of it.
Mm-hmm. For her maiden voyage.
Her maiden voyage. It's my poor old boat, the boat I have had that's been so good. I've had her for 21 years. Luckily, I'm selling her to a friend, and it's going to a good place.
For the people that are from here, there's a lot of people know you. Some people knew your brother John. They may know Becky or Cindy. And I'm a part of that family through my son Christian. He's and people ask him, and I tell people, I say it's not complicated. 2 brothers married 2 sisters.
Yeah.
Can you kind of explain how that happened?
Well, my brother moved here when my parents moved here, and I bucked up and stayed in Marble Falls,
Mm-hmm.
Texas. And as a matter of fact, he worked at Massey Harris Pontiac. And he ended up meeting Agate Scott, who lived down the hill from where my mom and dad bought their place. And they got married.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they had, they had all their kids and stuff. But I was working in Dallas going through a divorce through my first wife. And Agate comes to, my brother he quit Massey Harris and he started coming to Dallas and working during the week and going home on the weekends. And Agate surprised John one time while he was in Dallas. She drove up to Dallas, brought her sister, Sadie Pearl. There was a big old mess there, but Sadie and Pearl and I, we bonded.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I met Sadie Pearl and how we ended up getting together. There's another story about that. We won't talk about that, but by the end of the day, that time, we Sadie Pearl and I got married, and we had Scott, Angela. But that's how I met. And of course, in that process, that's how I moved to Arkansas. Best thing that ever happened. That's how we met and how we ended up being brother-in-law, sister and sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Sadie Pearl's a wonderful lady, and just had a great life with that woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great life. She was one of the main reasons that I've been successful, because one of the biggest things about success is behind every successful man is usually a very good woman.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Sadie Pearl.
So what accomplishments are you most proud of?
I'm very proud of my daughters. My oldest daughter is in San Francisco. She's a Democrat, but we won't go into that. But she's got a real high education. I don't even know how high, but she's in some kind of administrative position in San Francisco, in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And she's She's a very smart person and doing well. She don't call Dad, hey, I need this, I need that. You know, they're successful.
Very independent.
Very independent. She's got a good man with her. They got a good little system going on. And got two great little grandsons with her. And then there's Angela. Angela is probably the most independent, unique person you'll ever meet. She's got a good bull filter. And she's married to a really good guy now. They have great kids. And that's probably my biggest accomplishments right there. And I wish my son was still around, but you got to go with what you got.
Mm-hmm.
And I got good. I do.
What advice would you give the 18, 20-year-old self? Let's say there's a kid and he's graduating high school. He doesn't know what to do with his life. What advice would you give him or her?
Learn a trade.
Trade.
Learn a trade. Don't go to college for business.
Mm-hmm.
You can make your own business if you have a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much work out there for HVAC, construction, laying rock and brick. It'll put calluses on your hand, but, the thing about, earlier you spoke about the 4.0s, they're working for a business. They're executives in business. And, they have something to do with that business, but next thing you know, that business goes under, and you know what? They ain't got crap.
Mm-hmm.
They're working for somebody else.
Right.
You learn a trade, start moonlighting, doing your own stuff, and grow into something for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I did. I learned a trade, and I moonlighted, and then I finally said, I think I can do this on myself. And I'm just saying, learn a trade, learn something that you can actually put your hands to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with sales. Sales is the best way to make money if you can sell stuff. You don't have to put in the manual labor.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people that are really, really good at it. And good people.
Mm-hmm.
Peggy's middle son, Cole, he sells boats. I don't think he ever grew up wanting to sell boats,
mm-hmm.
but he does, and he does outstanding. But I'm just saying, as far as actually hands-on, working on stuff with your hands and repairing things that break, I would say that would be my advice to anybody. And, and just get up in the morning and work. You just got to work. Do the hours it takes to do it. If you told somebody you're going to have that job done today, if it takes tonight,
mm-hmm.
you get it done.
Mm-hmm.
You just do what you say. But that's the thing, is just don't. The goal to all that is, at the end of the day, after you work for somebody and then you moonlight and then you get your own business, then you have control of your own destiny on how you do things and not how upper level management did things.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it craps down on you.
Right.
So that's my goal. I mean, that's my advice to kids, is put in the time. And, if you can find an apprenticeship somewhere instead of going to school, that'd be better, way better than going to a mechanic school, or my grandson Coulter is going to welding school. If he could, it'd be best to just learn
mm-hmm.
at a shop. Coulter worked with me at the shop some, and he welded for me some and stuff, and now he's going to welding school, and he welds better than the instructor.
Mm. So in other words, he's just going to get the piece of paper.
Yeah, exactly what he's doing. Yeah, but by God, I got to give him kudos. He's going for something.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, he's going to weld for himself.
I see.
Yeah.
So do you have to have that certification to get bonded or something like that? If he was going to strike
I don't know how that works. I'm sure that if you go on a pipeline, you got to have all that kind of stuff or whatever. But he's trying to get his credentials to where he can get started in whatever with welding.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his passion is welding. I was wanting him to want to work on cars and run tow trucks and stuff like that, but his passion was welding.
Mm-hmm.
And my God, he gets up and he goes to Fort Smith to West Ark or whatever, does half a day there over in welding school, and he's putting in the time. I wish him all the luck,
Mm-hmm.
and I guarantee he's got work ethic. He's gonna be something.
What does success look like to you?
One, you got to be happy. The main thing is be happy. You got to be responsible for what you do. And, through the long 45-year career that I've been working on cars, one thing that I am enjoying now is not being in debt.
Mm-hmm.
To me, go to sleep not knowing nobody nothing. I've been doing that for about 1.5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
That is nice.
I bet.
And that's something to dream about. And I didn't know I wanted to retire when I was 50 years ago. I think I'll probably never retire because I've always got to do stuff.
Right.
Unless my body fails me, which it's on its way. But to me, the goal, my success as far as career-wise is to have took care of things enough and overcome major debt and paid your bills and managed your overhead and managed your employees and all that stuff, and then finally be where you don't owe the bank nothing. I went through my first year this year. I didn't pay $1 for interest, and I paid interest sometimes $60,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah, just interest. I don't do as much as I used to, but now that I'm out of debt, I don't have to.
Right.
And that's comforting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point in my life where I do things more because I want to than what I have to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very comforting. So that's to me is success in business. Watching your kids be successful is good. My daughter Angela, she does things and she raises dogs and she does what she wants to do. She has wonderful children, and that makes my heart glow. How that, and then Brooke, California, taking care of what they do there. I feel like that's success too. Maybe a little bit of me is rubbing off on her.
Mm-hmm. So what are your plans for the future?
Probably the same thing. Maybe less time at Certified and more time at Dockzilla.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a great crew at Certified that, can take care of 90% of it. And, I'm molding my nephew Jay into doing some of the parts that I do that they don't do.
Mm-hmm.
And, my goal in the future is to, slow down and, smell the roses.
Right.
While my body still will let me, where I can, luckily I still have my health.
Mm-hmm.
My bones or my knees messed up and all that kind of stuff, but I just live with it. But I'm just saying, I want to slow down and smell the roses and watch the flowers grow in springtime. My favorite time of the year.
Yeah.
It's right now. Feeling me.
So if you had the power, how would you change things nationally, on a national level? I heard you speak about how there's not really any honor in people anymore, like they don't show up when they're supposed to. What would you do on a national level?
Like if I was president or something?
Anything. If you had the power to, what do you think?
I wouldn't take that job if you give it to me.
I'm saying, what advice to young people for what they should look for in a leader, or what are the current leaders doing that they shouldn't be, or what is your outlook on?
My outlook on the way the world is right now is all politicians, not all of them, but you take, they're all crooked. They're all, you take every politician that gets high up in Washington, they come in worth maybe $500,000 and they leave and they're worth $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make them kind of salaries. I guarantee you that there are people that when they do that and they have, I don't know what the salary of a president is right now, but I'm in school. It's like $550,000 years ago. I bet it's way more than that now. Though President Trump didn't take a dime of that, just so you know.
Right.
But I'm just saying, it's just if somebody's going to give you $5 million to get you elected, they want something for that. They ain't doing it for the fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're stupid to think that they're just giving that to you because it's not part of their agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And they're buying they're paying for their agenda in your situation. And it's a crooked world right now. And I don't know how we're spending money we ain't got. That's the worst thing about it is, we're supposedly so far in debt, but we're still sending money here, sending money there. I just wonder whose money is it?
Mm-hmm.
What checking account we writing that out of?
Yeah.
Me, if I spend money, I got to figure out where I'm going to get it before I do it.
Exactly.
And that's the way the world is right now. And I'm afraid for the dollar, because all they do is just print more money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just send them some money. We'll just print some up right quick. This is a special edition printed for y'all now. Dude. Stick it over there. And the worst thing about it is the poor people that, that we're $20 is worth so much to them where it ain't nothing for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
When they take away that $20 from them poor ass people,
mm-hmm.
I apologize. I'm not cussing. I'm a cusser. But I'm just saying that the world is screwed up. Everybody's got their political views and all that, and I don't need to get into that. But I'm just saying is all you can do is the best you can do every day for
mm-hmm.
yourself and your family and what you think is right.
So was there ever a time in your life where a situation like that presented itself? They say there's always the devil at the crossroads where you can make this decision and go the wrong way or the right way, where something was offered to you, but you knew it had strings attached that you turned it down. Or how would somebody recognize that if they were wet behind the ears, I guess?
Well, I don't guess that really ever happened to me, but you'd have to be stupid not to see what's going on with these big money things.
Right.
I've never been in a situation where one of the greatest things that I've done is the fact that I've never had a partner in my life other than my wife,
mm-hmm.
And having to deal with somebody else's ideas and all that stuff and clashing with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good thing that I've never have had to do. I went through the pain and suffering of it, because I did a lot of it on my own. It would have been better and easier with a partner through the years, but it worked out. But I don't know. There's a lot of evil. Fortunately, I don't think I've ever had to deal with anything that had like strings attached. Where I just worked on cars,
mm-hmm.
And now I'm doing the hospitality business at Dockzilla, and that is just whenever I ever show anybody my place at Dockzilla, I tell them what this is the culmination of my life's work.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember you telling me that.
And I always wanted to live on Lake Hamilton. I had a little spot before, but it wasn't nothing like this. It was somebody else's house they built. This was a lot I bought,
mm-hmm.
and I built it from scratch. And Peggy and I have been to get my wife, Peggy. We've been together for almost 13 years now. And she's been through probably about 11 and a half, 12 years of it. We did it together. And she's been a really good partner.
Mm-hmm. What are the main challenges that you face as a business owner in Booneville? And how do you tackle those?
Well, maybe not in Booneville, but as far as inside my business, my company,
Mm-hmm.
is trying to keep everybody happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the old saying, if mom ain't happy, nobody's happy. Well, if your employees ain't happy, you're not going to be happy. I try to keep my employees happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I love them, and I think they love me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing I wouldn't do for any of them. They are why I am who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, you got to treat your people right. And that's a challenge sometimes. You just got to do the best you can with them. You treat people like you wanted to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a good person, that's usually going to get them.
Mm-hmm.
That'll keep them happy. And I think I've got it going on in that department. I've got a great staff. And the audition with Jay, just starting this is his 4th week.
Mm-hmm.
I see big things for Jay. And I think Jay's going to be good for Certified Auto. And he's the closest thing I have to a son.
Mm-hmm.
And I love him. And just working with him for the last 3.5 weeks, him saying, yes, sir. And yeah, I'm just like, it's a true blessing. I thought about him coming to work for me for several years now. Never really offered it to him because he had his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I just know that, shoot, out of the blue, Jay will just text me in the morning. Love you, Uncle Steve. Not wanting nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me he loved me. And that little things like that. Yeah. When he leaves at night, like tonight, he's, love you, Uncle Steve. And I just been really, really happy that things are going, because he's smart.
Mm-hmm.
He's smart. Between him with what I've got that's certified, I have my employee Irvin McKean had been with me almost since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I we're tight. It's like, if he needs something, I'll do it. If I need something, he'll do it. You can't keep employees like that unless you don't treat them right. You have to care for them. You don't look them at as a, you can't look at them as tools. They're not just tools. They are tools, but they're not just tools.
Right.
And then I have Rick, my service manager. I don't know how that guy keeps his head on his shoulders during the day, but he does. He has some very devoted guys that work under him: Dwight, Gary, John. Then there's Vicky, who runs my office. My office wouldn't even be an office without her. They've all been with me a long time. The newest one's John. He's been with me for about 2-3 years now. But everybody else has been with me for a long time.
The new guy. He's been there for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know you're doing something right when you say the new guy. And he's been there.
Well, Jay's a new guy.
Yeah. But
he ain't made it through a month probation period yet.
But the turnover's never really been an issue with certified.
Never. I don't know. It's just, I'm blessed. Very blessed.
What's an important characteristic of an effective leader? Like, what is your leadership style? When you say you treat them well, what are some examples? On a day-to-day interaction, if I wanted to hire an employee, what would their first day look like? If you hired somebody off the street, what's the day one for a new certified employee?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Welcome to Certified Auto. We ready to get some stuff done? You got a lot of folks here to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys have been in it for a long time, and you can make something of yourself if you want to. You're just gonna have to dig in there and do it. I need to be able to rely on you. You tell me you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it. Show up on time. I have a great employee. I won't name any names, but my employees know it. He's a great guy, smart mechanic, but he never showed up on time. I mean, I would drill his ass about it. I'd tell him, well, she had kids and a wife that didn't help him much and stuff, but still, just saying, you got to treat people like family. Because Certified Autos, our company, our internal people, we're like family. Mm-hmm. We are.
I can attest to that. It's very noticeable.
If you want to be part of the family, put in your share.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't hard to do. Just come to work, ready to work, and try to learn and be nice to people. People skills, sometimes that's hard. Yeah, the answer to your question is just, try to mold them into your family. Mm-hmm. Like bringing in a step kid that don't know anything about the world. Try to give your outlook on it, and hopefully that they take the positive side of things. There's always negative.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best answer I can give for that.
So, are you a glass half full or half empty, or what?
I don't go with that. There's days where you're half full. There's days when you're empty. There's days when you're full. You just got to rejoice in the days that are full, and the ones that are bad, you got to just wake up the next morning wanting to make that one full.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, you just got to try to do your best you can every day. Like I said, when you look in that mirror, even if you screwed everything up you touched that day, you tried. You may call yourself names. I do that all the time when I mess up, because I mess up too. Just today, I'm teaching Jay how to do inventory, and we take a car out in the forklift, and it's supposed to be in B yard 3, and I put the car in B yard 2, which Jay didn't even notice either. And I got him, why didn't you tell me? We're doing another, and I said, Jay, did we put that car in B yard 2 when it said B yard 3? And he goes, yeah, we did. It's just, you're always going to do stupid shit.
Yeah.
But, just do the best you can do, and enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some people work at jobs where they hate who they work for, and they don't believe in what they're doing. They're just doing it because they need a paycheck. To me, and I think all of my employees, what we do it because we want to do it good for people. We want to make people happy, and in turn, that's what makes us happy, and that's what pays our bills and pays salaries and bonuses and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I put some of my guys on bonuses, and that's how you create ambition.
Right.
Is, if you just give them, all I'm going to do is give you this.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, we had a big cost of living raises this year, because the cost of living is going up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty unprecedented versus what I've normally done. I'm sure they could still, probably all of them could go somewhere else and make more money, maybe, but I don't think they'd have what we have, going to a big city or something.
Yeah.
In Booneville, if you can be comfortable in Booneville, this is God's country right here.
Mm-hmm.
Community, the area, the environment, it's just, I live in Hot Springs on the weekends, and I don't even like going to town, the traffic,
mm-hmm.
And all that stuff. We live outside of town, and it's nice where we're at, but we don't even like to go to town because it's like Booneville, we don't have the big bad traffic and I don't know, like I said, this is God's country, and we're blessed to be able to live in Arkansas. Blessed. Just go somewhere else for a little bit and see how you like it.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
So how would people, if they wanted to, obviously they could, they probably know how to get in touch with the shop at 675-2464.
No, it's 2206.
Yeah, 2206. Sorry.
Wrong number.
That's Sonic, by the way. Sonic is 2464.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. 2206.
That's good.
But how would people get, if let's say they wanted to reserve Dockzilla? I know they're going to have to reserve it well in advance, but how would they do that?
Call my cell phone, 479-849-5329. That's the best way to do it because you can go to VRBO and find our listing. Or you can go to Facebook and then you can find my phone book on Facebook because Facebook's probably our biggest, our most up-to-date
pictures and stuff like
everything,
that.
Yeah, and what things are going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got a friend that's going to help me fix my website where it looks a little better. That website's like 9 years old. Don't even have a picture on the pool on it, you know, and that stuff. But I'm just saying, Facebook, which that's how you can contact me direct. You can go through VRBO, but they'll charge you, you know, some fees and stuff, and I can save you some money. We have weddings. We're doing weddings. We have a lakeside wedding. Our deck is right by the water, 16 foot above the water. We've got 3 weddings booked this year. First one's in April, and you know, we do really nice outdoor weddings for up to 50, and you know, we've had lots of family reunions, company parties, and company. We've had 2 or 3 companies come in, and they'd have like where they do, I don't know, a summit or whatever, where they all come in and they'll have their chalkboards out and they'll talk about business, and then they'll hang around by the pool or go out and ride the jet ski or that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just
go out
saying,
on the boat.
Yeah, and boat too. When you rent Dockzilla, you get your own boat slip. So if you have a boat, you can bring it, park it in the boat slip, and do what you want. Or I've got access to a neighbor that has a nice pontoon boat that you can rent. Or I do boat charters on my boat. I take people on sightseeing tours or dinner cruises and that kind of thing. It makes a really good time. It beats going over to some other foreign country, you know, or going to Florida and having to drive all that far and all that kind of stuff. And
deal with traffic.
We have out by the pool. We have we do karaoke. You know, we got a surround sound system around the pool. We did last year we did a huge outdoor fireplace pergola right outside between the house and the lake. It's just, I call it your hot springs vacation paradise. Hot Springs Lake Hamilton vacation paradise. You have your own resort with anything that you can go to Costa Rica and stay in, but you're in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
You have your rights. You ain't got to worry about taking that little ride from that bus from the resort to the airport where you're liable to get mugged. You know, we do during the racing season. We do, people come down and go to the racing season. We're about 30 minutes from the track, so that's inconvenient for some people. But I offer I call it a booze cruise. I will take groups to the track in my motorhome.
The booze cruise.
Yeah. And that way you ain't got to worry about, drinking at the track and getting back. And then and the coolest thing about it is whenever I get there, I drop you off at the front door. You don't have to walk 9 miles from your parking spot or worrying about your car getting dinged up. And when you're ready to go home, I pick you up at the front door in lavish style. Mm-hmm. And, we've got, when you get in the bus, you've got your beverages and whatever driving home, or we may go somewhere to eat or come back and grill, or sometimes I'll smoke stuff for people while they're gone, and when we get back, everything. So there's just a lot of options at different times of years that you can do there. But the best time is summer. The best thing about summer, it has grown into such a big thing that we've had about 3/4 of our summer sold out in January, and, there's a few little spots here and there, but the good ones are gone. Our Memorial and Labor Day weekends are sold 2 years ahead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
We're never done. We're always doing stuff. I just put a huge privacy fence up. Now we have our whole compound is totally private. It has private gates. Like you go into a private neighborhood, you got a private gate. Nobody can see you unless you let them in.
Right.
That's new this year. Finally got all the kinks worked out on the gate. We have 2 gates. Pull up and it opens up. You leave, when you come back, you got a keypad. You can let yourself in, or I can give you a remote. You only have to use a keypad while you're there. It is so cool. 6-foot privacy fence. You can't see through it. You have total privacy. Any of the neighborhood or the animals. There's a lot of deer around there.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main reasons we built the fence, the deer would come down and eat all our beautiful shrubbery and plants and stuff around the dock and stuff.
Well, I got to tell you, when Christian and I came up with the idea for the show, your name was one of the first ones that came to mind, and it's kind of a milestone here to have you on. And I just want to tell you thank you, and I very much appreciate you taking the time out. And
well, I appreciate it. I didn't know what this is all about. I've enjoyed our conversation. I'm a very blessed and lucky man, and I don't mean to gloat about my success, but I am successful, and it don't mean that I can be unsuccessful tomorrow, But I'm just doing the best I can to try to keep everything going good, and I love what I do. That sums it up a lot. If you love what you do,
mm-hmm.
that makes it a whole lot easier to do it good.
Amen to that. Well, Steve, I appreciate you coming on. Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure.